Okay, welcome back everybody. In this specific lesson, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making our transition from Notepad, which we've been using as our default text editor, and we're going to be using Dreamweaver, which is a little bit easier to manage some of the things that we have to do on a day-to-day basis, such as keeping track of our files, keeping things organized, viewing code, and viewing a like a rough draft or a rough preview, as well as pulling up different browsers, manipulating and working with various different types of languages. Dreamweaver ties all of them together. So I'm going to spend a couple minutes explaining where things are in this tutorial. So what you want to do is make sure you're understanding this may be tied to a specific worksheet based on questions that I'm looking to see that you can answer through watching this video. So first off, if we were working with this from a previous day, you would see open in a recent area here. Right? Open a recent item, and the top listed item is the most recently edited, and then historically this will push down as you use different ones. So if you're not sharing a computer, you can easily open this up and then continue where you left off. If you're managing multiple projects, things get a little bit more technical. We are doing one project at a time, so this is pretty easy. If you take a look at the Create New, we have HTML, a bunch of other languages, one of which you probably recognize, which is CSS, and as you can see, the other languages that we can edit, in addition to others that aren't listed. So we already have files. So what we need to do is define and manage a site. So on the right-hand side that you can see here, we have Manage Site. We drop this down. We also have our files listed here if they were shown. We have our C drive. This is our entire Windows operating system, or at least what's holding it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go Manage Site, and we're going to hit New. And we, at this time, if we were making a new project, we would come up with a unique name. We already have one. It's called Creative 01. 01. Okay? Now, we have a specific location which we need to define. This is a default location that points to nothing. So you're going to click the folder. You're going to now drop this down, or over here you're going to click on My PC. This is a different operating system, so I have to click on Computer. You're going to find your last name, and then you're going to go into your Web Design folder, HTML Assignments Creative 01. Mine's located here. When you open it, the root folder, as I've been saying, root directory all along, is what we are currently in. So the select button is what's present instead of open. So we're going to hit select, and the path should be simplified. It should say G:\/ Web Design Assignments / HTML Assignments / Creative 01, or something to that measure. If we were to actually post this on the internet and use a host, we would go to advanced settings, we'd go to servers, we would assign things here. But for this specific activity, we aren't going to be doing that, so we're just going to leave it just as so, and we're going to hit save. As you can see, Manage Sites already has one listed. We can add more if we decided to do that. Right? If we were working on 6 different projects at different times of the week, this is how we would add other sites. We aren't doing that for this particular project, but remember that. So we're going to say done. And if you're going to notice over here on the right, you're going to see that this is our File Explorer showing us just what is associated to that Creative 01 folder. All right? We have our images. You have many more. We have styles. We only have one, just like me, style. And then we have our pages, our home page, our period pages, and then a club and a sport page if that applies to you. So now if I double click, let's start with index. You can kind of see what the preview looks like. Over here on the left side, we have code, just design, and then split. If you don't like it split like this, but you want it split, if you go to view, you can split vertically and then put design on the left if you want. You can keep it on the right. You can also uncheck split vertically, now we're at horizontal. Some students like to view the design on top. So we have the editor, visual editor, what you see is what you get on the top, and we have the code editor at the bottom. I don't particularly have a preference of which one you use. Whichever one you use is the one that should be most productive. Personally, I do this unless I have 2 monitors, and then I'll split it vertically. At this point, let's show you a couple other things. We linked our, at least at this point, our index HTML. As you can see, line 6 on my code, that is the link to the style folder, or the style file that's in the styles folder right here. Okay, this code links styles into style, hence styles into style, right? So this HTML file right here uses an external file. If there are links to external files such as that you see here, they will actually be listed right where my mouse is, and you can bounce back and forth between what's been linked. When you edit this, you need to understand you are editing this file, and that file will be asked of you to save if you do edit this. So if I add a couple things, which obviously didn't do anything, but according to the computer I've changed it, CSS has an asterisk at the top right, so does index.html. So if I would have to hit save, the asterisk went away, go back to source code, file save, the asterisk's gone away, which now tells you that there's nothing that needs to be saved to preview this. Which brings me to preview. To preview, you're going to drop this down, and you can edit your browser list if you had all the other browsers. We're going to stick with Chrome. My computer is associating it to F12. Judging by my period 3 class, you probably don't have a default key. So if we go down to edit browser list, this pop-up will appear. Preview in a browser. You might have Chrome listed here, but you'll probably have to edit, which you can give it a name. And then you can check it that it is your primary browser, which will probably give it a default key. Say OK. Make sure primary browser is selected here. And say OK. Now I just want to try, just for the sake of my own curiosity, what happens if we hit plus. You would then have to give it a name and then find the actual program in the system folders. Look for the, let's say, Internet Explorer.exe, the executable. This is beyond what we need to do. We just need to associate Chrome as our default browser, and hopefully that when F12 is pressed, it applies to you as well, because it's pretty convenient. So when I just press F12, this pops up instantly. So while I'm working, I can even close this, jump over to here, do a little bit more editing, press F12, and quickly it shows me my my browser. Okay, so it's nice to have an F12 key, and so forth. If you drop it down, you can also preview in others. Okay. What else can we talk about? As you can tell here, Creative 01 is the folder that you'll see. If you want, you can drag this up a little bit so you can see we're not going to be playing with any of this stuff here. And at this point, I'm just going to show you how CSS can quickly be edited because it's convenient with Dreamweaver. So we're going to click on CSS. If you notice that there's a color here, if I double click it, an editor should show up. Maybe I have to drag this down. Sometimes it's hard to grab these things. Do current. We're at style. Traditionally, and maybe I'm not clicking on the right thing right now, but traditionally you'd see some CSS stuff pop up, which I'm not seeing. So I'm just going to double click the style CSS and open it up in its own unique spot. And here's the view I was looking for. CSS is opened up by itself in its own tab. And when you click on specifically color, on the right hand side you'll actually see that color. And just for the sake of demonstrating, I'm actually going to type this natively. I know it's 333 for the color, but background color, right? Let's type it. I want to show you what it's like to type something here. Type background. As you can see, here's everything that's tied to background. I just use my arrow key and go up and down on these choices, and lo and behold, there's background color. So I'm feeling lazy. I don't want to type this if I don't have to. This is going to save me some time. I'm going to press enter, and now I'm greeted with something else. So it's actually writing in the syntactual language without me having to type it. So I'm going to go down to color, press enter, and now I have a color picker, 24-bit color picker. Actually, it's a little bit less than that, but we'll deal with that a different day. So as you can see, we can choose whatever we want. I'm going to choose something different just for the sake of different. And of course, you do have to end the semicolon. It's something they expect you to know. Okay? And then at that time, we're going to hit Control S. You can even hit refresh over here. When I click on it, you can see the new associated color. So sometimes it's hard to understand what colors are what. So when you click on these, you can mouse over them and you can actually see the color. And if you want to change them on the fly, sometimes you're reverse engineering a website template. This is kind of how you can debug it. So let's go and preview what we just did. And there's the preview already. So I was able to kind of preview that code ahead of time just to see kind of what it would do. Okay, now every page moving forward will have that menu and that link. So at this time, I'm just going to kind of end this video, and you now at least know how Dreamweaver works with managing a site, associating your files, changing some color, and then working with CSS. So have a good day.